In the 1980s, a terrifying tale of a ghostly child circulated in the northern part of Hong Kong's new territories. Legend has it that deep in the woods near Ta Kwu Ling, there was a young girl with missing hands who would randomly approach passersby and ask if they had seen her hands. If the answer was wrong, she would chop off the person's hands and bury them alive. Many believed this was just a story made by adults to prevent children from wandering off. Little did they know, behind this tale, there's a horrifying dismemberment case. On the afternoon of June 17, 1981, Si Choi Han, a housewife living in Pingyuan Village, Hong Kong, was taking a nap in her parents' bedroom after helping her sister with a wedding. Suddenly, she was awakened by a phone call from her younger brother, Si Kun. On the other end of the line, her brother informed her that her 6-year-old stepdaughter, King Ling, had gone missing. The mother took a bus back to Pingyuan Village, her heart filled with anxiety. She was unsure how to explain the situation to her husband, Chun, who was working abroad. Si Chun Han, 29-year-old, originally lived in Won Tai Sin district and was the eldest of the 6 siblings. 3 years earlier, she met Chun, a technician, and despite his status as a divorced single father, she quickly entered into a relationship with him. They married the following year. After their marriage, the couple had 2 children. Si Choi Han treated Lun, Chun's daughter, from his previous marriage as her own. She quit her job to devote herself fully to caring for the 3 children. Meanwhile, Chun, in order to support the family, had traveled to South Africa for work in April 1980. Apart from sending monthly salary, he rarely returned home. As a full-time homemaker, Si Choi Han was constantly busy managing household chores and taking care of the children. She never imagined that such a significant incident would occur during her brief absence. According to Si Choi Han, before leaving home the previous day, she had specifically asked her 13-year-old brother, Si Kun, to come over and help look after the 3 children. She had meticulously instructed him, saying for the 2 younger ones, just make sure they fed with milk powder. But for Lun, you must take her to and from school, buy her breakfast in the morning, and bath her at night. She also left her brother 100 Hong Kong dollars before leaving. Feeling assured that everything would be taken care of, she had assumed that her brother, who often visited their home, was accustomed to taking care of the children. Although Lun was young, she was obedient, sensible, smart, and adorable, often helping to look after her younger siblings. Therefore, Si Choi Han believed that her brief absence of 2 days would not lead to any issues. However, the sudden incident disrupted her plans. On the evening of June 17, Si Choi Han rushed home and learned from her brother that he had bought soy milk and fried dog sticks for Lun's breakfast the morning and personally taking her to kindergarten. However, when he went to pick her up in the afternoon, she was nowhere to be found. A few kindergarten's classmates mentioned that Lun had left right after school. Si Kun thought she might have gone home on her own and searched along the way, but he didn't see her. After waiting at home for a long time without her return, he anxiously called his sister. Si Choi Han immediately began asking her neighbors door to door, but no one had seen Lun. Instead, they assured her not to worry, suggesting that Lun might have sneaked off to a park or playground since her stepmother wasn't around. By 9:30 p.m., Si Choi Han still hadn't found her daughter. So, she went to the Shui police station to file a report. At that time, everyone still believed this was merely a simple case of a missing child and that the family would surely find their beloved daughter. However, a week passed and the police had thoroughly searched the area around Ta Kwu Ling near Pingyuan Village, yet there was still no trace of Lun. The saying, alive or dead, we must see the person, weighed heavily on everyone's heart. As the little girl's whereabouts remained unknown, it wasn't until June 25, 8 days after Lun's disappearance, that the police realized the abnormality of the case and formed a special task force. They recollected statements from the mother and younger brother and continued the investigation in Pingyong village and Si Cho Han's parents' home. It was on this day that the police made a shocking discovery. At 5:15 p.m. on June 25, while conducting a search of Si Cho Han's home, the police noticed an area in a backyard where the grass appeared unusually sparse. The soil there had been disturbed, forming a small mound using a bamboo pole they found on site. The officers poked at the soil and, to their horror, uncovered a decomposed human head crawling with maggots. The small skull and long hair led everyone to almost immediately confirm that it was the head of Mak Yilun. Shortly after, the police discovered the rest of the body's torso nearby, along with some scorched textile, suspected to be Mak Yilun's school bag. However, the hands of the victim were never found. After a careful examination of the facial features, Si Cho Han's identified the remains found in her backyard as those Mak Yilun, who had been missing for over a week. The brutal murder of this 6-year-old girl drew significant attention from the police. Since the victim's remains were found at home, the two family members who first reported Mak Yilun's disappearance, Si Cho Han and Si Chi Kun, were listed as prime suspects. The police reopened a new round of questioning targeting them, but nothing came up. During the interrogation, Si Cho Han claimed ignorance, citing her attendance at a wedding in another location as her alibi. Friends and relatives at the wedding also provided her with an alibi. Si Chi Kun, on the other hand, recounted his activities during the days surrounding the incident with ease. Although no one could provide him with an alibi, his young age and his role as a helpful brother who assisted in caring for the children made it difficult to associate him with the murder. With no other leads available, the investigation hit a deadlock. The police began to consider a new possibility. Although the remains were found at the victim's home, perhaps the murderer was not a member of the family. However, following this line of inquiry also yielded no significant breakthroughs. After repeatedly comparing several statements, the police noticed a detail. On June 17, the date Mak Yilun was reported missing, Si Chi Kun claimed that he had taken her to kindergarten in the morning. However, after conducting interviews, both the kindergarten teachers and students stated that Mak Yilun had not attended school that day. This meant Si Chi Kun had lied. But why did he lie? To find the answer, the police interrogated Si Chi Kun again. This time, they continuously applied pressure during the questioning and strategically revealed details about the discovery of Mak Yilun's remains at a critical moment. As expected, the frightened Si Kun showed cracks in his composure. After all, he was just a 13-year-old boy and faced with the sophisticated police. His psychological defenses quickly crumbled. In a trembling voice, he revealed the truth. It turned out that on the evening of June 16, after Si Cho Han's left, Si Chi Kun followed his sister's instructions and bathed Mak Yilun before bed. During the progress, out of curiosity, Si Chi Kun touched Mak Yilun's private parts, which made her feel humiliated and furious. She called him a pervert and even chased him to hit him. In the scuffle, Si Chi Kun, overwhelmed by her reaction, pushed Mak Yilun down. Unexpectedly, her head hit a hard object and she passed out. At first, Si Chi Kun thought Mak Yilun was pretending to be unconscious and ignored her, leaving the scene. It wasn't until around 5 a.m. that he woke up and found her still lying on the ground. He reached out to touch her and realized her body was cold and she had stopped breathing. Only then did he realize the gravity of the situation. In a panic, Unwilling to let his sister discover the truth, and desperate to avoid going to jail, he decided to dispose of the body. He dragged Mok Yi-lun's body to the backyard, intending to burn it. However, possibly due to the high humidity in the yard, he couldn't get the fire to ignite. He then decided to bury the body on the spot. To reduce the chances of the body being identified, Si Chi-kwon took a kitchen knife and decapitated Mok Yi-lun. He also attempted to cut her arms, but struggled with how to proceed. After a few unsuccessful attempts, he gave up. While chopping, Si Chi-kwon realized that the fingerprints on the hands should also be destroyed. He then cut off Mok Yi-lun's hands, burned them to ashes, and mixed them into the soil. As for why he burned the school bag, it was to create the illusion that Mok Yi-lun had gone to school. Si Chi-kwon knew that if the police believed she had gone missing after school, his own suspicion would be eliminated. Listening to this 13-year-old boy calmly recount the steps of murder, dismemberment, and concealment of the body, the police couldn't help but feel a chilling unease. They also discovered a crucial detail. During the autopsy, the forensic examiner found a deep hole in Mok Yi-lun's skull, likely caused by a sharp tool like a triangular file. This suggested that Mok Yi-lun may not have died from accidentally hitting a hard object, as Si Chi-kwon claimed, but was instead intentionally harmed to death. In other words, this was not manslaughter, but premeditated murder. How much of what Si Chi-kwon had previously said was actually true? Did he withhold the full truth to justify his actions and manslaughter rather than murder? Or was he covering up for the real killer? Could a 13-year-old child, after accidentally killing someone, really have the clarity of mind to carry out a series of dismemberment actions entirely on his own? And was Si Cho-han, the seemingly innocent stepmother, truly aware of everything in this murder case? The police maintained suspicious about Si Cho-han. After interrogating Si Chi-kwon, they launched an in-depth investigation into her and uncovered several questionable points. First, Si Cho-han explained that she left her home to attend her sister's wedding. However, her sister was also Si Chi-kwon's sister. Why didn't Si Chi-kwon go to the wedding as well? Instead, she deliberately left him behind to take care of the children. Moreover, as a mother of three, how could she feel at ease staying at her parents' home for 2 consecutive days while leaving a 13-year-old to care for a 9-year-old and 2 infants aged 1 or 2? Further investigation by the police revealed that Si Cho-han's attitude toward her stepdaughter might not have been as good as she claimed. Mok Yi-lun's maternal grandmother, upon seeing the news of her granddaughter's death in the newspaper, tearfully revealed that Si Cho-han's only pretended to treat Mok Yi-lun well in front of others, but was actually very harsh on her in private. After Mok Yi-lun's biological parents divorced, Si Cho-han demanded that Mok Yi-lun cut off contact with her mother's side of the family and soon moved away. Initially, Mok Yi-lun would occasionally call her grandmother, but each time she would cry about how badly Si Cho-han treated her. During one phone call, the grandmother even heard Si Cho-han yelling at and hitting Mok Yi-lun. After that, Mok Yi-lun never called her grandmother again. Mok Yi-lun's kindergarten teacher also mentioned that Mok Yi-lun had suddenly fainted twice at school, likely due to extreme hunger or malnutrition, which caused her physical weakness. Even with these testimonies highlighting the strained relationship between Si Cho-han and her stepdaughter, and despite Si Cho-han having a strong motive, she still had a solid alibi, making it impossible for the police to charge her. On June 27, Si Cho-kwon was charged with murder by the police. At just 13 years old, he became the youngest person in Hong Kong to be accused of such a crime. 10 months after the tragedy, the case finally went to trial in the Supreme Court. In court, Si Chi-kwon constantly maintained that he had accidentally pushed Mok Yi-lun, leading to her accidental death. He also admitted that he had come up with the idea of disposing of the body and had carried out all the actions independently. As a result, the prosecution changed the charge from murder to manslaughter. However, Si Chi-kwun still denied the manslaughter charge. His defense lawyer argued that Si Chi-kwun had only pushed Mok Yi-lun, and no one could have foreseen that she would die as a result. Would the forensic examiner testify? They stated that due to the severe decomposition and burning of the body, it was impossible to determine the exact cause of Mok Yi-lun's death. Ultimately, the jury, consisting of 5 men and 2 women, unanimously ruled that the defendant, Si Chi-kwun, was not guilty of manslaughter. He was released on the spot. Legend has it that after this incident, Ta Kwu Ling experienced multiple ghostly occurrences. Villagers pulled money to invite a high monk to perform a ritual for the deceased. However, residents living near the burial sites claimed that the disturbances did not cease. Mok Yi-lun's spirit was said to linger, weeping every night, as if pleading for justice. The sensational dismemberment case that shocked Hong Kong ended abruptly and inconclusively. Whether the truth was manslaughter or murder seemed to vanish along with the lost life, forever shrouded in mystery. One can only wonder how Mok Yi-lun's father, who was far across the ocean at the time of the incident, felt upon learning of his daughter's death. Did he choose to accept everything and continue his life with Si Cho-han? This is Charles, bringing you crime story analysis. If you like this channel, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification button. Have a case you want me to dig in and share, leave a message on the comment section, and I will see you next time.